to get that down. And somewhere here is my book. Where is my something rich? Somebody come in my office here last night? Oh, there it is. They stacked it. Good morning. Y'all ready for some fun this morning? Chapter 4, the first principle in the science of getting rich. That'd be good to know, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's chilly this morning here. I wonder if they got a little snow north of me up in Heather's territory. All things are possible. Chapter 4, the first principle in the science of getting rich. Thought is the only power which can produce tangible riches from the formless substance. Thought is the only power which can produce tangible riches from the formless substance. So there's 3 levels of thought. Which one are you influencing? Are you aware? So there's conscious thought. There is unconscious thought, and there's subconscious thought. Those are the 3 areas. And there's thought happening in all of those. And it's a math problem. It comes down to a math problem. You hear me say this all the time. It is a math problem. And what I mean by math problem, I mean it's 1 versus 70,000 thoughts a day. I was listening to John Assaraf the other day. He said new research says we have about 6,500 thoughts. I don't know that that's all of the thoughts that we have. I think it's maybe 6,500 possibly new thoughts that we could have, but maybe research. And it came, he probably pulled the same research that I heard of 3 years ago. It's out of Queensland's University in Canada. So, but here's the point. Thought is the only power that can produce tangible riches. So if it's not in your hands, if it's not the house or the car or the vacation or the dream house or the massage or the ring that you want or the clothes that you want, it's because you're not having the thought for it. That's as pretty basic as you can get and as powerful as you can get. To know that the only thing that can produce tangible riches from the formless substance is thought, and you have the ability to think. Beamish just came in. He doesn't have the ability to think like that. Okay, so let's go on with the second sentence. The stuff from which all things are made is a substance which thinks. Boy, I'd spend some time in bewilderment of this. A thought in the formless substance produces the form. Original substance moves according to its thoughts. Original substance moves according to its thoughts. Every form and process you see in nature is a visible expression of the thought in the original substance. As it thinks of a form, it takes that form. As it thinks of a motion, it makes that motion. That is the way all things were created. We live in a thought world, and this world is part of the thought universe. A thought of a moving universe extended throughout the formless substance. The thinking stuff resulting from a thought took the form of systems of planets and continues to maintain that form. It says right in the beginning of Genesis, I don't know the words word for word, but thought there is light, there is light, there is water, there is water. This, even in the Bible, all of the universe was created from thought. Thinking substance takes the form of its thought and moves according to the thought. Holding the idea of a circling system of suns and worlds, it took the form of these bodies and moved them accordingly. Although centuries may be required to do the work, by thinking the form of a slow-growing tree, the formless substance produces the tree. In creating, the formless substance seems to move according to the lines of motion it has established. The thought of an oak tree does not cause the instant formation of a full-grown tree, but it does start in motion the forces which will produce the tree established along established lines of growth. Every thought of form held in the thinking substance causes the creation of that form, but always, or at least generally, along the lines of growth and action already established. So Bob Proctor would say, how long does it take to birth a dream? How long does it take to achieve a goal? They have these established lines of action and formation. If the thought of a house of a certain construction were impressed upon the formless substance, it might not cause the instant formation of that house, but it would cause the turning of the creative energies already working in trade and commerce into such channels as to result in the speedy building of a house. And if there were no existing channels through which the creative energy could work, the house would be formed directly from the primal substance, without waiting for the slow process of the organic and the inorganic world. No thought of form can be impressed upon the original substance without causing the creation of that form. If you have the book and you're not afraid to underline, I would circle this line. No thought of form, visualization, no thought of form, aka visualization, can be impressed upon the original substance without causing the creation of that form. This is when you take time to hold yourself in meditation, to hold yourself in thought, to hold yourself in space, to hold yourself in the visual, to get every sense of your body, the five senses, see your goals, taste your goals, touch your goals, smell your goals, right? Can you hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, feel it? Can you make yourself be one with it? Because in doing so, that's what creates the energy of the field. No thought of form, nothing you can think of. If you think of something, it will be produced from the formless substance. It's that simple. This is the science of getting rich. This isn't, well, maybe it'll work for you, but I don't know if it'll work for you. You didn't graduate from university, but you did. But you graduated second in your class. If we could find the one who graduated first in their class, it'll work faster for them. That is not the law. No thought of form can be impressed upon the original substance without causing the creation of that form. Emerson said the most difficult thing you will ever do is the idea of sustained thought. You know why miracles appear? Is because people are in such an emotional state and they're constantly thinking and praying of something that seems impossible. And I'll be darned if the impossible doesn't happen. Doesn't happen regularly. Oh, by the way, you are a miracle. Miracles can produce miracles. This is truly about holding your thoughts and about overriding all of the old limiting beliefs. Why do you think there's a $50 billion a year industry, 580 million, $1 billion a year industry in personal development? We were born miracles. We were born with all of the skills, all of the talents available inside of us. Somebody told us that we can't do something, and we started to believe that. What if? What if for just 6 months you believed this? You believed in you. No thought of form can be impressed upon the original substance without causing the creation of that form. A human being is a thinking center and can originate thought. All the forms that a person fashions with his hands must first emerge from the thought, from his thought. He cannot shape a thing until he has a thought of that thing. And so far as man has confined his efforts wholly to the work of his hands, he has applied manual labor to the world of form, seeking to change or modify already existing forms. We take a wood tree and turn it into furniture. We turn it into 2x4s, turn it into a house. It's still the same wood that came out of the tree. So we use our manual labor to convert form. He has never thought of trying to cause the creation of new forms by impressing his thoughts upon the formless substance. This is what's called discoveries. When a person has a thought form, he takes material from the forms of nature and makes an image of the form which is in his mind. He has, so far, made little or no effort to cooperate with the formless intelligence, to work with the Father. He has not dreamed that he can do what he seeth the Father doing. Jesus said in the Bible, even the least of you can do this and more. Even the least amongst you can do this and more, speaking of what he was capable of. Man reshapes and modifies existing forms by manual labor. He has not considered the question of whether he could produce things from the formless substance by communicating his thoughts to it. Can you imagine reading this in the 1930s, the 1940s? He has not considered the question of whether he could produce things from the formless substance by communicating his thoughts to it. I propose to prove that he may do so, to prove that any man or woman may do so, and to show how. My first step will be to lay down 3 fundamental propositions. First, we assert that there is an original formless substance from which all things are made. All the seemingly many elements are only different presentations of one element, energy. Doesn't say that in the book, but if we remember from chapter 2, everything is energy. And this stuff is thinking stuff. Energy is thinking. A thought held in it produces the form of the thought. This is why we have to have such clarity, such precision, such vision. If I were to ask many people, describe to me your ultimate goal, your ultimate day, they would skip some steps. The universe can't skip steps. It says it will produce the thing along the lines already established. You are in a world where there are things that are already established in the lines of formation and creation. You don't wake up on the ocean. You wake up in bed and you wake up and then you move into something and you take a walk and you take a ride, you take a boat ride and you wind up someplace. Listen carefully to what you're about to be exposed to. Thought is a thinking substance. Thought in thinking substance produces shapes. A human being is a thinking center capable of original thought. If a person can communicate his thought, if a person can communicate his thought, if a person can communicate his thought to the original thinking substance, he can cause the formation of the thing he thinks about. So here's the three propositions. One, there is a thinking substance. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. 3, a person can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon the formless substance can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. A person can form things in his thought. Close your eyes right now, unless you're driving or operating heavy equipment or doing brain surgery. Just close your eyes for just a second. I want you to imagine your thought, your goal, your dream, your DMP, your definite major purpose. Do you have the time of day? It doesn't have to be the exact minute, although the exact minute will arrive in your time of day. What's the temperature? What does it smell like? I usually use what it feels like after a rain. So, because I know that smell of what the ozone in the air feels like after a lightning storm. What kind of shoes do you have on? Are you barefoot? What kind of underwear are you wearing? Wait, what? Well, hopefully, unless you're wearing a bathing suit, then that would be your underwear. Did you put makeup on today? Did you have cologne on today? Did you do your hair today? This is we're getting you in the day of your goal. Is there music playing? Are there birds singing? Is there wind blowing? All of this is part of the universe. These are the established lines of the world we live in. Maybe you'll be inside. Maybe there won't be a breeze, but you'll be inside. What temperature will it be inside? What room are you sitting in? What paintings are on the wall? What artwork is on the wall? What lights are on in the room? Have you ever gone into that much deep? Well, no, that's like crazy. No, it's not crazy. These are the established lines of the universe we live in. And is it pitch black? Are you sitting in the dark in your room? And that's perfectly fine. Decide what it is so that you can get into the vibrational frequency of that thing. Because the thought you are having has a lot of gaps in it. And if it has a lot of gaps in it, the universe can't build it. It brings you goals with a lot of gaps in it, with no sturdy foundation. Let me read the three propositions again. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original substance permeates and penetrates and fills the inner spaces of the universe. Number 2, a thought in the substance produces the thing held by the thought. 3, a person can form things in his mind, in his thought, and by impressing this thought upon the formless substance can produce the thing he thinks about. That is so powerful. I can prove these statements both by logic and experience. This is pretty gutsy, but it's true. Reasoning back to the phenomena of form and thought, I come to one original thinking substance. And reasoning forward from thinking substance, I come to the individual's power to cause the formation of the thing he thinks about. By experiment, I find this reasoning to be true, and this is my strongest proof. If one person who reads this book gets rich by doing what I tell him to do, that is evidence in support of my claim. Furthermore, if every person who does what I tell them to do gets rich, this is proof, this is positive proof, until someone goes through the process and fails. The theory is true until the process fails. And the process will not fail because every person who does exactly what I tell them will get rich. Why would you read any other book? Why would anybody offer any other book until? I have said that an individual gets rich by doing things in a certain way. In order to do so, a person must be able to think in a certain way. A person's way of doing things is a direct result of the way he thinks about things. Now, when they're saying thinking in a certain way, is it only about your goals, or is it even thinking in a certain way when you order your food or drive on the road or tell somebody you love them? The way you send a text. Doesn't it take thinking to send a text? Are you thinking in a certain way to be a man of increasing value, a woman of increasing value when you send a text message? To do things in a way you want to do them, you will have to acquire the ability to think the way you want to think. To do things in a way you want to do them, you will have to acquire. What skill or talent do I need for tomorrow? How about the ability to think the way you want to think? That is the first step towards getting rich. To think what you want to think is to think truth regardless of appearances. Do you think about getting skinny when you're skinny, or do you have to think about getting skinny before you're skinny, even when you're fat? Do you have to think about being rich, even when you're poor? If you're going through hell, just keep going. Doesn't that mean keep thinking the way you want to think on the other side of hell? Some of you might be in the proverbial hell right now. Are you letting your current circumstances determine your thinking? Because if you are, then you're going to get more of what you're currently thinking, period. Well, I don't know how to do that. Welcome to the science of getting rich. There is a thinking substance from which all things are made, in which in its original state permeates and penetrates and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought held in that substance will produce the thing held by the thought. You have to think beyond your current circumstances. You have to think riches. When I walk people through, so tell me what it is when you have $1 million day. What do? You just had your first $1 million day. You launched a product. You sold 1,000 of them at $1,000. What does it feel like? What are you wearing? What are you doing? Who's there with you? Who's the first person you call when you say, hey, listen, I hit it. It happened. I'm watching it. Tick, tick, tick. There it is. It happened. Or are you dealing with, why don't people like my social media? Are you thinking the big thoughts that are the big thoughts for you, not somebody else's big thought? Every person has to think what you want to think is to think truth, regardless of circumstances, appearances. Every person has the natural and inherent power to think what he wants to think, but it requires far more effort to do so than it does to think the thoughts which are suggested by appearances. The Babaism. When somebody sneezes and says something, it must be true. Let me read that again. Every person has the natural and inherent power to think what he wants to think. Yet it requires far more effort to do so than it does to think the thoughts which are suggested by appearances. To think according to appearance is easy. Oh, this isn't happening fast enough. Why isn't this moving? Why aren't I rich yet? Why aren't I this? You're thinking of thoughts as they currently appear. That's easy. That's easy to say. I don't see anything happening. I used to say that to my mentor all the time. I don't see anything happening. Really? You don't see a single shift in the things that are happening around? Well, yeah, but they're not happening fast enough. You would say, think faster. See it clearer. See it bigger. Turn up the volume. To think according to appearance is easy. To think truth regardless of appearances is laborious and requires the expenditure of more power, right? Your brain consumes 20% of your body's energy. Can you imagine if you really understood and started to put some energy into your thinking? You would be tired. Your brain would hurt. Neuroplasticity, creating new neural networks. The other thing that would be happening is something known in the psychology of the brain called neural pruning. You would start to prune old ideas and old thoughts, because the old thoughts and the old ideas are easy. What does the brain look for? Two things. Will it kill me, or how fast could I recognize the pattern? Where you are about to go, there is no pattern. You have to build the pattern. You have to create the habits. You are the only one who can build the habits and the patterns of your dreams. Period. Full stop. End of story. End of paragraph. End of chapter. This is all about thinking. The only thing holding you back is your thinking. Period. Period. Not your skills, not your talents, not your ability, because you can think yourself into more skills. You can think yourself into more talents. You can think yourself into more abilities. You can think yourself into more situations that'll be more powerful and positive and profitable for your dreams. You've done it in the past. You have absolute 100% evidence of success in your life. And it's when you thought beyond your current appearances. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. To think according to appearances is easy. To think truth regardless of appearances is laborious and requires the expenditure of more power than any other work a person has to perform. It doesn't say you got to go dig ditches faster than the other guy. You have to think harder, think stronger, think more focused than the other guy. Napoleon Hill calls it desire. Your friends who aren't ready for you to expand call it an obsession. You are obsessed with the brain. I know, and I love it. Well, why can't you come out with us? And do what? Drink? Why don't you come over and we can talk about the brain? We can talk about our goals. We can talk about our dreams. We can talk about our vision for the next 18 months. Nah, okay. Let me know how that works for you. There is no labor from which most people shrink as they do from the sustained and consecutive thought. It's the hardest work in the world. Period. End of story. Are you seeing a pattern here that Waddles is saying? The idea of thinking with such intensity, with such creativity, with such focus, that your brain begins to hurt. You know when our brain begins to hurt? Typically, for the average person, you're all above average. If you're watching this, I'm guessing you're above average. You don't wind up in my frequency because you want to stay poor, broke, and dejected. You just don't. The universe isn't that mean. So, you know what when our brain really starts to hurt, when we really start to feel stress? Tell me, when we think of stress, is stress positive or stress negative? For the most part, for the average bear. Drop a plus or a minus sign in the chat. Do you realize that when we really start to bring discomfort to our body, we're usually focused a tremendous amount on the negative. I can't believe we broke up. We broke up. Oh my God, we broke up. We broke up. We broke up. It's horrible. They cry, they tear, they this, then my life is over. That's usually not a positive experience. And their brain hurts, their heart breaks. That's all emotional feeling. And we are putting such a powerful energy towards it that it literally manifests in our body pain. To think according, good morning, Debbie. To think according to appearances is easy. To think truth regardless of appearance. Is your dreams truthful? Are your dreams truthful? I know. Tell them, Debbie. Tell them their dreams are truthful. If your dreams are the truth, then why are you lying? Wait, what? If your dreams are truthful things, why are you lying?
Bonus.
Not thinking of them as truth? Or are you letting somebody else tell you whether they're truthful or not? See, when I show up to have conversations with people, I don't fall in love with people. I'm in love with people. I don't need to make the transition into, oh, okay, I will fall in love with them. I show up loving me. And if you're in my world, I love me because you're in my world. So you get my love. I don't have to love you so love shows up in my world. I'm already loving. This is me. I'm just telling you me. So people find it odd at the end of a conversation, a first conversation. Hey, listen, thanks. I love you. I appreciate you. I really do love this time and love our energy. And I can't wait till the next time where we circle in time and space. Because if we've ever met, you can't leave me. I may not think of you all the time. You can't leave me, though, because if I have a thought of you and you show up and I know exactly who you are in my mind when I think of you, you did not leave me. You were always in my time and space, which then translates to, if you're having a bad day, you can pick up on it. Moms, can you pick up on it? Dads, can you pick up on it? Dear friends, can you pick up on when somebody in your life, and you, hey, listen, I'm just checking in on you. How did you know? I needed you. I needed to speak to you. How did you know? I got a feeling, feelings. Whoa, 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 whoa. So can you think, Rich? Can you think state, not strategy? Doesn't say to work according to appearances is easy, which that is also easy. Why do you think they say clothes make the woman, shoes make the woman, clothes make the man? You put on a good set of threads, you seem to act just a little bit different. You put on a nice set of shoes that's comfortable, but also raises those legs and makes that butt stick out. Ooh, these are my favorite shoes. They're uncomfortable as hell, but I love them. Look at the way they make my calves just go pow. Right? To think, to think according to appearance is easy. I'm going to ask you to not think according to appearance. Can you walk into the room? Can you be that, I don't know, Marvel character who every time you walk into the room, if you walk into a restaurant, if you ever want a private boat, is that the galley? Is that the galley? Is that the eating area, the salon on your boat you're walking into and it sits 20 people? When you go to walk to your car, are you walking to your chauffeur driven car? And you're imagining you're getting in the back seat? Yeah, you're driving. But you can still be driving and tell the dream. See what happens? You're now not thinking of the appearance of the current appearance. I walk every time I walk the property. Most mornings after the call, I go out and walk the property, and I see the grass, this estate-like lawn on 20 acres. The trees downlit, some of the trees uplit, the animals, the barn, the grass, perfectly manicured, looks amazing. Somebody's cutting it, and I can just smell the grass, and it's that amazing feel and the smell of the grass and the birds, and it's just amazing. The pump that was put in for the waterfall, so the waterfall is always going, and that sound of fresh, clean, crisp, clear water falling over stones, it just sounds amazing. To think according to appearances is easy. To think, he's going to tell you the how. He's giving you the how right now to stay in strategy. To think according to appearances is easy. To think regardless of appearances is laborious and requires expenditure of more power than any other work, a person has to perform. It is the most important skill you could do, is the power to think. 1% think, 2% think they think. The other 97% would rather die than think. That's a statistic I came up with. So that and 25 cents won't get you a cup of coffee at McDonald's. There is no labor from which most people shrink as they do from that of sustained and consecutive thought. When people say, oh, I meditate for about 15 minutes a day and I'm good. You haven't even gotten warmed up, Skippy. 2 hours is going to be the number that you're going to find is where you start to unlock, unwire, and do things, because nothing really happens till the first 45 minutes. It's after the first 45 minutes when the brain starts to settle down, when the neural patterns start to shift, and when the energy starts to allow, when your brain finally says, okay, we're in a safe place. Okay, we don't have to go answer the 15 calls. And what time was that appointment I had? And what was it? Nothing typically happens till after 45 minutes. You get an hour and a half into it, boy, you get some, right? Why do I suggest to you that when you have a challenge, a project, something you're going to go need a solution for, write out 50. Some of you have heard this already and you haven't done it. Have you written out 50 solutions to the challenge you're currently experiencing? And if you haven't, how's that working for you? There is no labor from which most people shrink as they do from the idea of sustained and consecutive thought. It is the hardest work in the world. This is especially true when truth is contrary to appearances. Every appearance in the visible world tends to produce the corresponding form in the mind which observes it. Oh, this is so powerful. And yet people will just read right through this and go, I read the book. Every appearance in the visible world tends to produce a corresponding form in the mind which observes it. To look upon appearances of disease will produce the form of disease in your own mind and ultimately in your body. Instead, you must hold the thought of the truth, which is that there is no disease. Disease is only an appearance, and the reality is health. If disease didn't exist, there'd be no way to eliminate it. Disease, a body not at ease. So if the pain in your shoulder from raking the leaves was real, it would always be there. Truth is only the thing that exists. Isn't it true we mask the truth of our own lives? This is why what I do is called personal undevelopment. Only to get to your truth. It's the Michelangelo process. I chippy away everything not you. To look upon appearance of disease will produce the form of disease in your own mind. This is why you don't, Bob Proctor says, you don't want to be sick, don't talk to sick people. Don't hang around sick people. You don't want to be poor, don't talk to poor people. Share with them, invite them. Offer them an opportunity. Bring them onto your ship. Bring them onto your dream. Bring them onto your vision. Do not go into their vision trying to fix their vision. That will not work. You have to offer them an invitation to more. Ergo, the three questions: permission to help, uncomfortable, take you out of the uncomfortable feeling. Because I ain't going to poverty land. I'll drive by. I'll say, hey, listen, you want to get on the bus? You want to get on the bus? You want to come over? You want to come over to happiness and joy and peace and prosperity? Get on the bus. To look upon appearances of poverty will produce the corresponding forms in your own mind. Instead, you must hold the truth that there is no poverty. There is no lack in your life right now. The only lack in your life right now is what you become aware of, and what you think about, you bring about. An addiction to approval says you're going to stay there until. Instead, you must hold to the truth that there is no poverty. There is only abundance. Well, that's just being silly. You mean just go head in the sky and pie in the sky and just put your head in the clouds? Call it what you want. That's an opinion you have about thinking abundantly. That there's something wrong with thinking abundantly. That there's something to challenge, that you're odd if all of a sudden you think everything is wonderful. And you feel it in your toes. It requires power to think health when surrounded by the appearance. Why don't nurses always get sick? Why don't doctors always they're around the sickest people? Does that make sense? Why don't moms always get sick? They do. Not always. They should be sick a lot more if just being around people gets you sick, right? It requires power to think health when surrounded by the appearance of disease, or to think riches when in the midst of the appearances of poverty. Aren't you in the appearances of poverty? Could you imagine walking into a restaurant saying, all these people are starving? Aren't they? Think about it. How many of you have ever walked into a restaurant, yourself walked into a restaurant, you've said it, oh, I'm starving, I can't wait to eat. But could you imagine somebody walking in? Imagine the restaurant just opened up and everybody placed their order and nobody's eating food. And somebody walks in who doesn't understand what a restaurant is and says, oh my God, all these people came here to be hungry. Think about it. Allow that to settle in for just a second. Would they want to go there if they wanted food? If they didn't know that you had placed your order in the universe and that food was on its way, wouldn't somebody go, this is the dumbest place in the world to go? You go here when you're hungry and then you sit at a table and you get no food. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. Could you imagine somebody orders a bowl of cereal and somebody orders fresh made paella? Takes about 45 minutes to make fresh made paella. You placed an order. 45 minutes later, you're going to get your paella. And they got their bowl of cereal and they're like, what the hell did you order? You're just going to be hungry forever. I am never ordering that because it never comes. See what happens when you start to think just a little bit differently? You've never thought of, possibly. I'm going to say there's a pretty darn good chance you never thought about a restaurant as a place where starving people go. To look upon appearances of poverty will produce the corresponding forms in your own mind. Yeah, I went way long on this. It's the first principle in the science of getting rich, thinking. To look upon appearances of poverty will produce the corresponding forms in your own mind. If I see it, I have to think it, because the brain is looking, will that kill me or is there a pattern? Sorry, I can't get away from taking it just a little bit deeper. So if you see this and you see that on the back of it, you're probably going, oh, that's supplements. I wonder what kind of supplements there are. To look at this is to think supplements, to think nutritionals, to think pills. You cannot look at something and not correspondingly put yourself in the vibration of the thing you're looking at. So to look at around you and say poverty, lack, Messy. You ever have something messy and then it got clean? Didn't the clean already exist and just the messy was on top of the clean? What? Okay, let me see if I can read through this without my brain running off on a tangent. Let's see. We'll try. We'll put a good effort forward. To look upon the appearances of poverty will produce the corresponding forms in the mind. Instead, you must hold the truth that there is no poverty. There's only abundance. It requires power to think health when surrounded by the appearances of disease, or to think riches in the midst of the appearances of poverty. But he who acquires the power becomes a mastermind. He can conquer fate, and he can have what he wants. The power can only be acquired by getting hold of the basic fact, which is behind all appearances, that there is one thinking substance from which all things are made. Then we must grasp the truth that every thought held in this substance becomes a form, and that a person can impress his thoughts upon it so as to cause them to take form and become visible things. When we realize this, we will lose all doubt and fear, because we know that we can create what we want to create. We can get what we want to have and become what we want to be. As a first step toward getting rich, you must believe in the three fundamental statements given previously in the chapter. In order to emphasize them, I will repeat them here. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, which in its original state permeates and penetrates and fills the inner spaces of the universe. That's one. Two, a thought in this substance, the thinking stuff, a thought in this substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. You take this thing which you've imagined, because congratulations, where you're at right now, it's your thought. Whatever you think about and put into the formless substance with all of the detail and all of the wants and all of the wishes and all of the energy and all of the frequency and all of the color, the thinking stuff begins to produce it. And what you currently have is the absolute production of your current thoughts. A lot of them aren't your own. For many people. A thought in this substance can produce the things that is imagined by the thought. A person can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon the formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. You must lay aside all other concepts. You must lay aside all other concepts of the universe than this monastic one. You must dwell upon this until it is fixed in your mind and has become your habitual thought. Read these creed statements over and over and over and over and over again. Fix every word upon your memory. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, in which in its original state permeates and penetrates and fills the inner spaces of the universe. I kind of said it once or twice. Fix every word upon your memory and meditate upon them until you firmly believe what they say. If a doubt comes to you, cast it aside as a sin. There's the preacher version of Wallace D. Waddle. Do not listen to arguments against the idea. See, even the story's still trying to get me. Do not listen to arguments against this idea. Do not go to churches or lectures where contrary concepts of things are taught or preached. Do not read magazines or books which teach a different idea. If you get mixed up in your faith, all your efforts will be in vain. So the second you say, this isn't working, all of your previous efforts were in vain. It is that absolute. Do not ask why these are true, nor speculate as to how they can be true. Simply take them on trust. Much like you're asking people to join you in your business on trust. The science of getting rich begins with the absolute appearance of this faith. Chapter 4. What'd you learn? What'd you like? Good morning. Don't be scared.
Wowza. Good morning.
Good morning. Little different than just reading the book, huh?
This is very different than reading book. I just started typing in the chat, and then I saw that no one wants to take a bullet, so I'm going to take the bullet.
But
Um,
see, isn't that a thought? Let's switch that, everybody. Rather than being, well, I don't want to be the first one, or somebody else wants to go that's got something more important than me. Pay attention to the energy. That's addiction to approval. What bullet are you going to take here? Why would you even establish that? I'm just saying, I pick on you because you're like, well, damn it. And here I am taking a bullet.
the Sean bullet. This one I'm going to take.
My point
Okay, I'm
is
just
that there's nothing to fear. We've been doing this for 5 years. Why wouldn't you just be chomping at the bit, have 55 questions as you're going through this? Going, I'm going to be the first. I want to get my answers. You should own your questions so that you can own your answers. Just saying, just a thought. Change the way you look at things so the things you look at change. Go ahead.
okay. Okie dokie. Wow, I understand that I need to read this even more slower. It's not, I got
There is a book in every sentence when Waddles writes.
oh yeah. I mean, this is just so it it's so interesting to me. That's the word I'm looking for. Interesting. It's intriguing because from how I see it, and you always know exactly what to say. And a part of my ambition in life, and a part of my the traits that I want to establish when
Yeah.
I'm your age or older or whatever, is to really, really try to exploit to the fullest in my skill to know exactly what to say at exactly the right time, like you do. It you, it just fascinates me every single time. You
So would you
make
like it?
people
Would you like
have
an upgrade?
yes,
It's
yes.
it's never what to say, it's what to respond.
Oh,
So if I don't know what to say, but I know what to respond, what have I had to do?
oh, you have to listen. Oh, okay.
So it's not that I know what to say, it's I'm part of a dialogue you're having that maybe you don't know that I'm a part of, and I know what to say in the dialogue. I'm a good listener.
Mm.
So that's how I know what to say. So I'll save you 20
Oh,
years. I didn't know that's
okay.
what I needed to do. So I just saved you 20 years if you pay attention to
Yeah,
that. Because
yeah.
all you're doing is responding to a dialogue that's going on. Sometimes it's an unspoken dialogue. Does that make sense? It's quietly happening in their head, which is why you
I
all say to me, "Get out of my head." It's like, okay.
I had an experience like that. I did think I sent you a message. I mean, it's in Serbian, I don't understand, but anyway, my friends responded. I sent them a message, just like you said, and they responded. So he responded first, and then she responded later on, and we just had a wholesome moment because they were so happy. And
Oh, wow. So you put karma
I,
into the world before they even responded back, and it was such a karmic invitation for them to have joy that they had to respond to you.
yes, but then I had another moment of SGM moment because they immediately responded back with, "Oh, it's all you. You told us to do this, and you told us, and whatever." And I said, "No, no, 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 no. I just guided you to the water, but you had to drink it." As Sean was saying there, "Oh, this guy Sean, he's the greatest guy ever," and whatever. I'm like, sure, okay." So we really had a wholesome moment, and I want to thank you for that, for allowing me to see how that can happen.
Did JM3
And
yourself?
I'm very it was very good. And top of this one today, this is really strong stuff. This is something's going on here. Some voodoo stuff. And
It's only chapter 14. 12 more to go.
Yeah.
I mean, chapter
Now,
4.
chapter four. Yeah. Now I'm getting the book down as well, and then I'm going over. So I'm going over the chapter in the book, and then I'm going over the workbook
Question.
chapter that you have, and then on top of all of that, these replays that are on YouTube. Wowza, wowza. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
What do you do with it now?
I,
Ay, 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 ay.
mama, mama. I put it to work. Or let me rephrase that. I make it work for me.
And in order to make it work for you, what skill or talent do you have to develop?
I just thought we were finished, but you keep on struggling. Okay. Uh, uh, oh, I know. Well, it starts with LOVE. I
So
need to
how do you
do
start to
love.
how do you start to think in love? That's all
The imagery I'm
that's
getting
the thing you need
is
to work on. How do you sit there
uh
in love? Can you raise your level of love without moving, sitting where you're sitting right now?
yes,
Why didn't you do it before? What was the thinking keeping you from raising your love?
the thought of taking the first bullet out of everybody. That was probably okay. I see. I
So
understand what
if
you're
you get this, so here's the thing. Every time we go to have Q&A, after I finish pontificating, the next second is about you increasing your love. While you're listening and go, oh, that's good. And you take a note. Isn't that note to increase your love? And isn't all that we're working towards one of two things? One of three things. Becoming aware of the love, doing more for the love, or avoiding the love. That's it. Those are the three things we can do. Learn, do more of, do less of. Brian Tracy says there's four things you can do. Start something, do more, do less. So you're either going to start more love or stop love. You're either going to start love or stop love. You're going to either do more love or do less love. But the things that are the doing less love are things that are pulling love away from you. I would avoid those things. Jim Rohn would say, don't sign up for those classes.
I like the frequency. I love that because those two people, the friend of mine and his lady, uh, they started off. I mean, we started this year off in a bad frequency in terms of I told them I was going to cut them off if they don't start, poking around my idea and my goals. And all of a sudden, I didn't talk to them for like 3 weeks. I come on here every day. I'm journaling. I'm doing work on me, and it's going on fantastic. Which means that I basically did work on me, and in return, he hit me up. So Mike, he hit me up, and he was like, "Hey, we said we haven't seen each other in like 3 weeks. Let's do something together." I said, "Okay, whatever." Go to their house, and we have a complete. I mean, 720. I mean, we've done 4 circles around transformation kind of conversation, and then we had the wholesome moment yesterday, and I realized that what you're saying is true. Shocker.
No, no,
Oh, shocker.
you kidding?
Because
You mean it works? Oh, 40 years I've been waiting for somebody to tell me this.
well, here you go. You're welcome. So yeah, so I basically did work on
And let me
me. I
ask you,
haven't.
in this awareness, how much effort did it take for it to work?
It was effortless. It just came to me.
I help people have the things they want and less of the things they don't. I
Just came
guess
to me.
maybe I should use that as a statement too.
Maybe. Well, anyways, I want to thank you
Not
for allowing
anyways,
me.
that's huge ways. Don't
Huge
play it
ways,
off. Look at
big
that.
ways, big
So
ways, big
your
ways.
karma was out in the world. And here's the thing. Those friends were always in your vibration. That's how you had a wholesome moment. Did the whole so go back and revisit some things that happen. If you get mad at somebody, did the mad already exist and you just made it real? Did the wholesome moment already exist? You held it in your thought, and because you held it in your thought, a thought held in the thinking stuff produces the thing held by the thought. Was there any moment in your life that you wanted to have wholesome moments with your friends?
Yeah.
Did they not appear instantly and effortlessly? From out of the blue, from them reaching out to you, this wholesome moment came through a text. They reached out, you went over to the house, and the universe said, you can continue this by us showing up. You showed up by sending them a text. Did you not?
Yeah, I did.
Did the wholesome moment already exist?
It did.
Were you surprised when the wholesome moment manifested at the level that it did? Did you feel better because of this wholesome moment?
Honestly, I did. I did, yes.
Why are we why are we telling the universe, listen, you don't need to bring me joy all the time. Every now and then I'll do it. If you get surprised by a message back from somebody, that is the universe saying, I got you, Skippy. Just do the work. Give people a chance to raise their hand.
Good stuff, young man.
It's that powerful and it's that fast.
What you're saying, the image I'm getting, the download I'm getting is it's like you were walking down this hallway and there's an infinite amount of doors on both the left and right. And since you're saying that it all exists right now, me being without a leg, right now, me being a trillionaire, right now, me living in Sri Lanka, right, everything exists, all of that, all those options exist. And do I just decide, I walk up to the door and on the door handle, it says like do not disturb or whatever. And then it says like, it has a huge plate or whatever. And it says, here's an option where you're mad today. Here's an option where you're happy today. And I just open the door and that's it. That's the one I'm getting. So thank you for that image.
And you'll go open the door that says this is the mad door, and you go up and you try to change it. You can't change the mad. It is the mad. It's like, but I want this to be a happy. It's got to exist. And here's the thing. One side is not always all of the negative and all of the positive. The doors are all over because the universe is testing. Can you pay attention to the clues I'm giving you called the reticular activating system? And your DMP creates the reticular formation system, which says, here's the signals I want you to pay attention to. Here's the signals I want you to pay attention to. It's called my DMP. It's called the thing I read twice a day, 3 times a day. It's the thing I dream and close my eyes for just a moment. It's the thing I check in every hour. Am I in the frequency of my DMP? This is what I want the universe to pay attention to. Show me the things that reflect and harmonize with this vision. I bet you had some more good things happen after you got that message from them yesterday. No. Really?
By the way, I just got this morning. There's a couple of transactions that went through in my company's account, and this morning, after 4 transactions, I already hit over $1 million in local currency.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a very good thing. That's a very good thing. So it's not $1 million US. It is
hey! Don't stop with the shooting yourself in the foot.
It's not $1 million US yet, but
it's $1 million in local currency. How long does it take the average person to make $1 million in local currency?
It's actually 1.5 million, and that's gonna take them 2 years approximately, I think.
Okay. So do you realize you now have a truthful story in saying, I help people compress. I show people the pathway of compressing 2 years into 2 days. You need to own that because that just happened.
It did. It did. It just happened. It did. and I'm very happy for it. So
So
that's good.
Own it, baby.
do you realize that which came first, the 1.5 million or the wholesome moment?
The wholesome moment.
So do you think that was a test to see if you were ready for the next big thing?
Could be
No.
very well.
Interesting
It
answer.
was.
Why are you
It
limiting
was.
your process? Because
Let me
didn't the
click on.
1.5 million already exist?
It did.
Wasn't the wholesome moment an indicator that it's okay for you to raise your elevation?
Yes.
Wasn't it okay for you to brag on it? Because you didn't start off with going, I got great news. I got 1.5 million in local currency. You didn't start off with that. You hid that. That was a little secret, and your body all started because you couldn't. You're so nervous and oh, I don't want to brag because it's bragging. It's 2 years. I did 2 years in 2 days. Oh, and your whole body's freaking out. Go watch the video.
I will.
Yeah.
I will. Okay.
When's the last time
Well,
you did 1.5 million local currency in 24 hours? 2 years ago.
I'd say, yeah. About
So this is
2023.
nothing new. Do you realize it's taken this long to get back to average?
Average
That's
for
average
me.
for you. If
For
you've
me,
done it again,
yes.
that's average. You've already got the formula. It's taken you 2.5 years to get back to average.
Yeah, the biggest I've done was about 3.2 million in a day.
So you haven't even crossed over the goal yet.
That was in 2022.
Wow. It's now 3 years later. What's taken so long?
I know. Well,
And
I'm
it's all about
curious to
thought.
find
It's
out.
all about vibration. You're smarter than you were in 2022. Aren't you?
Smarter, a bit thicker, and
You got more skills.
yes.
The only thing you don't have is the frequency. And now you're getting the frequency thanks to wholesome moments. I'd look for 50 of those a day. I'd think of that wholesome moment 50 times a day. That's the frequency.
Or I could, as you said, with every interaction that I do, drinking this coffee, going up to my car, walking to the office in 2 hours, think about how what did you say? You said not
Love. Can you be in love? We don't say
yes,
that in Serbia.
we
Well,
don't say
screw
that
you.
instead
You
of
got a vibration that's called love. Get over it.
no, you said exactly what to do. You said when you're walking up to your car, don't think of driving your car, but think that as if you had a chauffeur or something.
Right.
I was referring to that. So could I,
So visualize.
okay. Yeah. That's the word I'm looking for.
Tell the story. Start telling the story. Imagine you still open the door and go, hey, listen, Frederick, I'll get the door. You just get in the car. I love you, Frederick. Just get in the car. It's raining. You get in the car. Or stand outside and listen to the birds a couple more minutes. I got to make a phone call. Just get in the car when you're ready. But see what's happening? We don't tell these stories because somebody goes, well, now you're just acting like a cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You're going to have to be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah. Yeah, I will. I will.
Because I've been working on the grass here, there's some places where I've used dry grass, but it's annual rise, so there's no grass, so it's dirt and it's stones and stick. I imagine I am walking on the most lush grass. It is absolutely estate quality. The driveway is trimmed and everything. But you look at it right now, it looks like a freaking war zone. And Michelle's, you are just, I know you like the grass, but she said you have turned into like a freaky monster about the to me, that smell, because I grew up with that. Cutting the grass and smelling the grass and 10 acres. Now I got 20 acres. But to know that I'm taking this earth and reformatting the earth and reclamation of the earth and putting bio microbes back into the earth and doing all of these things and creating crop and ground cover and this, like, really? That's my jam. I'm learning about it. We had good grass. I didn't have clay and soil and you know, I get to now work in the grass. I get to go start my worm farm again so that I can use castings and liquid gold and put worms in the garden. But I tell the story. I see Gizmo walking in grass. He's standing in, right, because it's coming out of winter, so spring, the grass is kind of green up there, just little specks of green starting to pop up. But I imagine him when I'm walking up to him, he's telling me, "Would you cut the grass? It's tickling my belly." I'm always telling a story. I'm not telling what's real, because what's real sometimes sad. The people who are around me, I tell the stories. I have stories about all of the people that are around me. When I go into Walmart, you can tell you can tell some really not positive stories about some of the people in Walmart. I choose to not do that. In Kentucky, so this is Kentucky, coal. There were more millionaires at this one particular mine my dad used to call on. There were more millionaires in that mine that worked in the mine that the owner of the mine bought 22 Rolls Royces for his top management in a coal mine in Kentucky. They put on their good overalls to drive their Rolls Royces. They take it to the feed store to get hay and put it in the trunk. Because they had more money than they knew what to do with in the 70s. Dream, tell new stories, Imagine you're going to go do a live and it's for 1.3 million people. Nobody likes my live. I get 3 views. Okay, I bet you'll get 3 views. I bet you will. The first principle in getting rich is thinking. Well, I don't know what to think about. That's good. That's thinking that's good for you. I know what to think about.
But isn't it thinking in the special way?
It is actually. And so what you have to look at is that you have to look at the results. So if you think for the last hour you were thinking, what's your state? Okay. So thinking differently won't change your state. Changing your state, which requires thinking, emotions, and feelings, you have to go back to thinking of what's a great feeling, what's a great experience. So I think of things, fun things that I've done with the dogs, with the sheep, with Michelle. I think of the first time skiing and having her on my shoulders when we were standing next to a precipice where, if we really thought about it, if we were now, we wouldn't get within 20 feet of that precipice. But we were standing right there and I had her on my shoulders, and this was our first ski vacation. I have this picture of when we were on our honeymoon. It's right here in my office, right? I was able to pick. Do you look at the things that make you? I listen to my favorite songs. So I get into that state, then I think about my dreams. Because I can't think about my dreams if I'm in poverty, because I'm cloaking my dreams in poverty. So the certain way is vibration. Am I in the highest possible vibration possible? Am I in the highest possible vibration possible for me? And then I ask, can I push it? Can I turn up the volume? I close my eyes and turn up the little volume on the speaker. I'm at a 10. Can I go to 11? Can I scratch in a 1 and can I turn it one more time? And the knob goes to 11. Now what I do is from that vibration, I bring in the coaching programs. I bring in the farm. I bring in the ranch. I bring in the convention center. I bring in all the little bunket houses that are around where people can come and stay for camping, for events, for this. And I bring all of that vibration in once I'm in the highest vibration. But to think that I'm going to think about my dreams from a low vibration only puts the low vibration. It only paints those dreams with low vibration. So you're absolutely right. 100%. It is thinking in a certain way.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I changed my background just
I
because
love it. Absolutely. How many of us feel are like wanted to be at that dinner? If you want to be at that dinner and there's Silky and her white, right? Look at me. I'm in my white, baby. She's a hottie. She's okay with it. She's standing up. Listen, I'm a hottie, but don't get stupid.
this
Meaning,
was, do you know what this was?
I'm guessing, I don't know. I'd say Dubai, but that doesn't look like a Dubai location.
No, this was Rio.
Rio de Janeiro?
Yes, this was Rio de Janeiro. This was one of our BD Dream Vacations last dinner. Goodbye dinner. So it was amazing. It was one of the most amazing times I've had. So I just felt
So
like
get into that state.
this morning, and I changed it. I was thinking maybe it's a little much for you guys, but I thought
No, don't.
it.
Addiction to approval. What do you give a rat's butt about us? This is about you. Take care of you. Take care. And because you took care of you, we all go, oh man, I wish I was there. That's what Joseph McClendon III says. Can you give them a feeling that they go, I want some of that? So maybe a post you put today is you put that post up and say, I want to see some of your best. Go through your phone, go through your photo history. I want to see some of the best memories. Share your best memory photo with me in this post. Let's create some energy today.
That's a great idea. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. But I also wanted to say I totally understand what AJ was saying, because I was sitting here. I'd be the first one to talk because I like to talk and I like to ask questions. But I always think, well, let's see them. I don't want to take up all the time because
okay, so let's shift that. You take it because you're going to teach. You're a teacher. You take it. You're a teacher by nature. You teach German. You teach this. You teach network marketing. You teach Dream. You teach vacationing. You teach travel. Ask. Do not hesitate. I want there to be a fight. I want hands raised and going, I'm going first. Raise your hand as soon as I start talking to them at 6:05 and go, I'm first. My hand was up first. I'm going to ask it because I know I'm going to have own it. Own your questions, because here's the thing. If you hang around people who hesitate because you're hesitating, they pick up that frequency. Go be first. You're all leaders. Be first. Do not hesitate. Be first. But I'm first all the time. Well, then that's a clue. Jim Rohn would say that's a clue. I guess you're going to get to the finish line faster than most. Congratulations.
I guess you're right, because I don't want other people on this call to feel like I'm monopolizing the call and they don't get a turn.
Listen, they've been here for 6 years and haven't asked questions. You can ask questions.
I love the way you think. It always makes me happy.
Listen, they've had 6 years. And if you ask, you got a lot of questions to be asking to catch up.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sean. You just made my morning.
Listen, but this is the certain way, right? It's and I do my best to stay in a certain way. Now, I have animals that help me stay in the certain way, because I could have a good call or a not so good call. When I get out and I walk, and I'm going up to Gizmo and I had such a great afternoon. I go and sit by the hay bale. It was cold, probably 37 degrees here, 38 degrees. And I'm sitting leaning up against the hay bale, and Apollo is just like his dad. Apollo is the little ram that was born last year. And he comes over and I'm sitting there on the ground, my legs kind of spread wide because I'm working on my flexibility to sit with my legs crisscross applesauce. We used to say Indian style. But he'll walk right up to me and just like Gizmo, his dad, he'll be like, I want to be here, but I also don't want to look like a pansy. I want to look tough. So he'll come and he'll put his head down and put his head in my chest, and I'll scratch behind his ears, and then I'll start scratching. And then Astrid came over, the one who is, I think she's my background photo on Facebook right now, the big photo. Yeah. And she'll come over and she'll start getting scratches. And then Bunny comes over. She's kind of the 15-year-old who wants to be a part of the group. It's like, I'm too old for this. She was the firstborn. So she'll come over and I'll scratch her and she'll literally jump away And then she'll come back over and she'll paw me. And she paws me because she wants to get petted. She'll paw my leg on my shin, which is really attention getting. Ouch. But she'll paw me in a place where I can't reach her. I want you to pet me, but I don't want to get close enough. Bunny, would you get over here? And then she'll come over and she'll get a little closer. But all three of the babies come over. And I just love that. I haven't invested the time in them in probably almost 2 weeks to sit down like that because been busy. And then Nola will come over. Now she's one of the moms. Nola is actually Apollo's mom, the boy, the ram. And she's like, I don't want the other girls, Lily and McKinley, which are her kind of other moms. But anyway, so I sat there and I spent about 2 hours with them. And Apollo laid down on me. Nola, Astrid sat down next to me. And imagine petting a cotton ball. That's what this is like. And to get down to their skin to where you can actually scratch their skin, their wool's about that big because it's winter wool. And so you scratch and you could see them go like a dog where they start to, right? Just the most fun. And to smell them, their sheepness, right? Just like a dog has their sheep, or puppy breath has puppy breath. They just have this smell that I absolutely love. Anyway, so that put me in such a state yesterday. And it's the best thing. Even McKinley was getting close to me. And she's kind of she doesn't want to have to, like, you show up in there. She's like, I don't even want to look at you. I don't know what you're doing here. So anyways, so that was the conversation I had, and the stories I was telling, and Apollo was telling me stories, and Astrid was telling me stories. But when an animal lays down next to you, a wild animal, right? These are not domesticated animals. They're 3,500-year-old breed that is still a Shetland breed, pure Shetland breed. That's another species. And when she lays down and leans against you like a domesticated dog, it is the greatest feeling ever to have this big fluffy cotton ball. Anyway, but those are the things that put me in state. And from there, I can build castles, as it said in the very beginning, when Lloyd Conant would start to lean to the sky and look with his eyes up, you knew he was in dream building mode, castle building mode. So
I totally understand that. I've been trying literally. Am I muted? No. I've been trying for years to get my horse to lay down with me, and it still hasn't. I think it'd rather walk over me than lay down with me. Because, I see all the videos of people laying down with their horse, and yeah, I haven't.
So put that frequency in place, right? So this is exactly what it said today. To see it in the dream without the current appearances. So what would you feel if you sat down in the stall and they laid down and put their head on your lap? Just imagine that. Just imagine that. The idea of, oh my gosh, it looks like they're going to sit down. Oh my gosh, they're not going to step on me. They're going to sit down. And then they sit down. And then all of a sudden you feel that you start to see them start to lay their head down. And horse heads are much bigger than puppy heads. And you just feel this weight of this thing just lowering. And you can feel as they become more and more relaxed, their head getting heavier and heavier on your lap as they relax their muscles, relax their tension, and you get to stroke that neck. And just imagine that and just sit in that state, and don't be surprised to watch things that happen. Here's the other thing that happens, that this is where I caution, right? Because of my personal experience, as you sit in these wonderful states, these are very new states. Very new. The wholesome feeling is a new feeling, a new experience, until we go back and realize, oh, I've had experiences like this. The image was different. The vibration was the same. When you step into these new vibrations, these new awareness, when you start thinking in a certain way, it may be, for many of us, new thinking. And new thinking can get attacked real quick by old thinking. And when the old thinking starts to show up, we have to have a phrase. We have to have a response. Choose joy or misery. I choose joy, and I say, isn't that fascinating? Wow. The old story showed up instantly. Because when the new is there, so is the old. It's just what we choose. It's the yin and the yang. If the new is there, so is the old. We have to choose. We have to intentionally. The most difficult thing ever given to you is the idea of sustained thought, of thinking the new, even though all of the old visually exists. It's why we close our eyes when we pray. It's why we close our eyes when we dream. So we don't have to look at all of the things around. When you can dream with your eyes wide open, that's a huge shift.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bonus.
Anyone with last thoughts, comments?
This is Ruth.
Hey,
Thanks.
Ruth.
Good morning. Thank you for the bonus. But I wrote down when you said, "Oh, write down the 50 solutions to your whatever your dream is." So I thought,
Opportunity.
oh, opportunity. Okay, so I thought, okay, for me, it's the 100,000 points on or before December 1st. And I was after this call, I was just going to sit down and like, let's see what comes up. But then, as you were talking, you were saying, okay, this lesson is about thinking, but before the thinking, you really have to get into state first, right? And I wasn't thinking of that. I was thinking of just let's go ahead and pound it out.
Right.
But
And
that's not as fun.
well, and couple of things. Knowing you a little bit, you would go do the task to check the box that you did the task.
Hmm.
And then you would struggle through it. Let me ask you this. If I said, Ruth, I need some healing and Michelle needs some healing, would you go, well, okay, well, let me just do healing?
Mhm.
Or because you were in service to somebody, would you be like, oh, okay, oh, I get to serve? Wouldn't your energy shift a little bit?
Yes, absolutely.
So guess what, Ruth, you get to go serve the highest and best version of Ruth, who is a servant to her family and to her kids and to her husband and to all those who are part of our organization. You get to go serve. The Ruth of now gets to go serve the Ruth of the future by getting into state, knowing that you are the reason that the Ruth of the future exists, and you're going to get recognition, and you're going to go, yes, but we did it together and we did it as a team. Raise your state, raise your elevate, and say, now I'm going to come up with 50 solutions. I promise you they'll be a heck of a lot better than the 50 that you were just going to check the strategy for.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's much more exciting.
Right? So, and this is all about thought. This is about thinking. We didn't do anything. We thought this new version of how we're going to go do 50 things.
Bonus.
Mm.
So some of us are old enough. 50 ways to leave your lover.
Yes.
How about 50 ways to love your lover? 50 ways to love. So here's the
50
thing.
ways to love Ruth, right?
Yeah,
I mean...
I was just going to say that. What are 50 ways for Ruth to love Ruth? Don't slip out the back, Jack. Don't make a new plan, Stan. You need to be coy, Roy. Just listen to me.
Mhm.
Don't get on the bus, Gus. Make a new plan, Stan.
Very
So
cool.
what are 50? What's one way Ruth could love Ruth today? I'll let you do the other 49 by yourself. What's one way you could love you today?
Ice cream.
Did you see what her head said? How many of you saw her head?
No.
No, I know ice cream is it, but your subconscious said, no. We're not doing that. This is why we have to pay attention to how their body responds. Because who you are speaks so loud, I ain't got to listen to what you're saying. You went, ooh, ice cream. So what would happen? So do this and say ice cream.
Ice cream.
You can't even do it.
No, it's not very comfortable. Is it because it's not good for me?
Well, you tell me. Could you have ice cream in a quantity, in a quality that doesn't destroy your health?
Yes.
Could you use it as a little bit of an incentive?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Can you have a Hershey Kiss and not the whole Hershey bag?
Yes.
But do you see what happened? So say, yeah, ice cream.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That feels a lot better.
But did you see? I mean, this is where when we listen to psychologists and we listen to human behavioralists and we say, well, so, we literally, when we hear people say this, I shouldn't say we, sometimes when I used to hear this, and they would say, well, they'll say yes, they want it, but their head will be shaking no. You'll be like, how? Nobody's that stupid. And they're not. That's how much the body neuroencoding runs our body. She said, ooh, ice cream.
So fun.
So she would never get the ice cream. And then what does she have? If she doesn't do the ice cream, well, I know it's no good for me. And that was a crazy dream. Why would I do something and she's having this whole conversation of why would I do something no. Do you have ice cream in the fridge now? In the freezer?
No.
Okay. So do you have something that could be that's a treat for you that you wouldn't normally do?
In my freezer?
I
Not
don't know.
really.
Somewhere. Even in the
No.
fridge, I don't care. Is there something that's in there that's this little, maybe a piece of chocolate? I don't know. What I'm saying is that go as soon as you can to reward yourself for becoming aware of just this motion when you said, oh, that would be so good for me. Going, I was limiting myself and I need to shift that. I need to have an emotional frequency. I don't care if it's putting something in your coffee this morning or whatever, but there's something that you have in the house that's kind of a little treat that you need to afford yourself so that you can begin this pattern of awareness.
Okay.
And listen, maybe it's sitting with your aromatherapy, what do you call it? The thing that puts the steam into the air with
Diffuser?
Yeah. Maybe you go turn one of those on.
I'll find something.
Yeah, find something and
Yeah,
find it as fast as possible.
I think there's one piece of chocolate that I want. I'm gonna go look.
So, but take it, when you take it,
Yes.
the part of you that's going to, once you grab it, is going to run a subconscious story going, oh, now you know how long we're going to have to stand on the stair stepper to get rid of this, right? Or the equivalent thereof. Go, this is my treat. I am rewarding myself for a major breakthrough. And just this little bit, and enjoy it and feel it as it melts on your tongue and you taste it and you smell it and you take a bite and it's like, oh, I'm going to nibble this for an hour. Because you realize if you put one potato chip in your mouth, for those of you that might eat one potato chip or 15 potato chips, it's still the taste of potato chip. You can make it last a lot longer if you just took little bites. Anyways, but yes, please go do that and reward yourself.
Yes, I will. I will savor that moment of that piece of chocolate.
And use that to say, this is what my DMP brings me. Moments of joy like this. And so
I'll do that before I make my list.
Yes. And go all the way to 50. Don't stop at 25 and say, I'm going to go let the cat out. I know you don't have a cat, but you know what I'm saying? Don't get distracted.
So in a row.
In a row, consistently. And if it takes an hour, it takes an hour, because the answers are going to be after 40. You're going to have some good answers in the 18s and the 20s and the 30s. But the big ones, as you need to really dig deep and uncover and undo, the big ones don't come till maybe 51. Because once you get to a point to, when you start doing that, right? Don't we get excited when we start, I could do, yeah. And keep going. You may get to 100, maybe not, but you'll get to one that'll be like, oh my gosh, it was right here in front of me the whole time. Because every solution you want is right here in front of you the whole time. Every single time, the answer is always in front of you. Your son-in-law's jaws from getting his stuff done, the answer was always in front of him. He has no idea about how to send energy and Reiki and magnetics and water and blah, 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 blah. But the answer was always there because mom-in-law had it. I just didn't want to ask for it. It's with the seed of every problem comes with it the seed of its own solution.
Mm.
Ooh, I'd have ice cream. What? Wait, what? Love it. Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Last thoughts, comments, questions, takeaway.
Yeah, Sean.
Hey,
Thank you.
Roz.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, because it's so crazy how we know it works. Like the thought, just thinking it actually works. And I
Could
know,
have had a V8.
right? I had proof. I mean, I know I told you guys a couple years ago, my son got married in 2020. I did not have a passport. And at that time, it was very limited employees or staff that they had working on these things. Me and my daughter sent it in, and literally in weeks, we got it. But I manifested being there. Like I actually saw myself on the beach at the wedding. I kept doing it day after day after day. And it works. So I know it works, but why do we fight it so much? Why do I fight it so much if I know it works?
Identity, addiction to approval. So you did it for them, right?
True.
And because you had enough desire to be in their presence, the universe goes, oh, we can make that happen. Do you have enough desire to be in the presence of who you become? Right? It always says on the way to. Don't set a goal for the goal, set a goal for who you become on the way to. And that's what we resist.
Bonus.
And if you become the one that takes care of your grandkids, what's the new version of you? You have to give up the old version that Roz struggles and suffers and is penalized for things not going her way and can never do what she wants to do because she's taken on the responsibilities of things she didn't want to take care of, but she'll do it. Why not take care of you the same way? I love you.
I love you, Sean.
Usually comes with a slap in the back of the head.
I love you so much.
Right? Isn't it okay if you take care of you?
It is. It is. I just
So,
need to really believe that.
what would the person who you would hire, for lack of a better term, to be a nanny, to work in coordination with you, to work in harmony with you, to be a alternate version of you that would allow you to go do what you do to create wealth and allows your visions and your philosophies and your desires, wants, and wishes and rules to still be enacted through this other person who you found is, oh my God, she is just like me. Disciplinarian, lover, carer, caretaker, instant fixer of all things necessary. What's her name? What's his name? Start talking to that and have the kids start to say, and you show up as that person. What would be a name of that nanny? What would be a name of that Mrs. McPhee, right? Nanny McPhee. What would be the name you would give that person? Nanny what?
Ingrid.
Nanny Ingrid. So now play with the kids and go, listen, I've hired Ingrid. And so now you get to be the alternate person. What do the kids call you? What's the name they have for you? What's that?
Gigi.
Gigi. So Nanny Ingrid is here, but listen, I'm not Nanny. I'm not Gigi. Gigi does it this way. Nanny Ingram does it this way. I want Gigi back. And they'll play with you and they'll ask for Gigi back. Or they'll ask for the fun and Nanny Ingram. Oh, Gigi, can you be Nanny Ingram, please? And you'll shift.
I love that.
See, did Nanny Ingram always exist?
Yes.
What made it so? Thinking made it so.
That's the thought.
Why not tell ourselves better stories? We've been telling ourselves lies that aren't true. Why not tell ourselves truths that that are really true? Now, which part of Gigi's just went, I'm not giving up taking care of my babies. You're not. You're Nanny Ingram too.
Oh,
We need to become the best at what we're the best at. Suffering, none of us should be good at our suffering. Some of us have become very good at our suffering. I know I did for a long time when I was the best at my suffering. I would encourage us to become better at what we're good at and let somebody else deal with the other stuff.
I love that.
Mason's good at going to university. I think I would like it. The closest I got to university, some of you know the stories. I went to Brookhaven College in Plano, Texas, which was right around from my office. I was going to take Chinese. I was going to learn Mandarin. Bought the books, bought the bumper sticker, bought the window sticker. That was the closest I got. I paid $180 for the books and a window sticker. Signed up for the classes. I forget how much I paid for the classes for a semester. Never darkened the door. I got the sticker to put on my truck window. Brookhaven University, Brookhaven College, it said. Someone goes, oh, you go to Brookhaven? I got the sticker. Then I wouldn't take it off. Oh, wow, look at that old guy going to university. Good for him. Good for him. Anyone else? Last thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways. I know this morning was big, but this is huge. If one sentence can switch the way you choose to allow your thinking to advance and elevate and consistently appear and show up, because
Yes, I have a question.
always. Please go ahead.
Why didn't you go?
Because my ego wouldn't. My old story wouldn't let me. And funny thing happened. I wasn't traveling at the time that I got hired, because this is when I became vice president of sales of a network marketing company. I was doing some domestic stuff. My goal, my whole goal, my desire, my dream, my wish, I'd go to bed every night wanting to get my passport stamped. Right? This is my new passport. So I got extra pages in it. That's thicker than a standard passport. But I would look through my passport almost every day, and I would imagine every page stamped with different countries, because this is when you used to get your passport stamped. And I wasn't going to Europe, and it was 6 months in. I said, well, what am I going to do? I've never had a job, and working 8 hours is like half a day for me. So I told Michelle, I said, I want to go learn Mandarin. I want to go become valuable by learning Chinese. So we went and signed up, this, that, or the other. And the first week that class started, I got sent to Europe.
I guess
So-
was trying to tell you, no, you shouldn't be learning Chinese. Maybe you should have chose German instead.
Well, I did learn. So I picked up Italian and Slovenian and different things. So I learned probably 13 languages. I could tell what they were saying when they was getting simultaneously translated. And somebody goes, you speak whatever they were translating. You speak Czech? I'm like, no, but that's not what I said, because I understood the vibration. But the point was, is why didn't I go, is because the dream that I had asked for showed up. So we have to constantly be pushing forward. And when the universe says, oh, so you're serious about that, because it was the frequency and the vibration. I had the bumper sticker, I had the window decal, all that stuff. And the universe goes, okay, here's your dream. Ooh, yay. And then I went and spent the next 18 months in Europe, on and off.
Pretty cool.
Loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. We have to keep moving. We have, right? Nothing is stationary. Because the second we sit, we start to die, and our dreams start to die unless we're moving forward. We have to be constantly sharpening the saw and swinging the axe and doing the things and getting burrs in our clothes and in our hair. It's like, oh, I didn't expect any of this. And the universe goes, okay, just beyond this. Oh my gosh, still look at this. Keep going, keep going, keep going. It's all thought. It's all thought. It's all thought. It's all thought. It's always thought. It can't be anything else but thought. So there you go. Love you all. I'm your head brain training. Think your way to success, Misfit. I'll see y'all where?
The next
The
event.
next
Next
event.
event. Y'all give me some Costa Ricas.
Good
Pura
Vida.
vida,
Pura
vida.
vida. We love you, Mark. And some Lydias.
Peace be with us.
Peace be with us. See you tonight at 8 o'clock. And the queen of travel and get yourself to new locations, Jessie Lee Ward.
Boss
Sleep.
Lee.
And a little white fur on your clothes, a little beefy.
Gurgly.
Gurgly. We love you. All right, everybody, go have some fun. We'll see you tonight, 8 p.m. and tomorrow morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Bye for now.
Thank you,
See you guys.
Sean.
Thank you for your day.
Have a great day, everyone. Love you.